perhaps no foreign leader that President Trump has more in common with than the Prime Minister of Israel. And today, Benjamin Netanyahu visits the White House, one scandal-laden leader to another. We'll preview that meeting ahead.
Yeah, they're telling me it's live, Mika.
Trump,
I gotta say this though, you know, Mika.
The Apple iPhone 8
I found it's just unbelievable.
Glitchy, can't send a text.
Unbelievable.
Anyone have that problem?
Good morning,
Let me know.
America. And I hear
President
that
Trump?
the X, the 10, whatever it is, just miserable.
It's not fun.
Just
Glitchy.
miserable. Glitchy.
Don't release it if it's not ready.
Yeah, you know,
President
maybe
Trump,
you just strip it down, make things simpler, figure out how to do it so it actually works, and then you sell it.
Okay. That's enough.
Isn't that what Stephen Jobs would do? It's like, let's keep it simple, let's make it work, and when we sell it, make sure that it's easy.
Work. Okay, President Trump is set to welcome Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House today, and the trip by the Prime Minister comes amid his legal troubles back home for his possible role in several far-reaching bribery scandals. Joining us now, Washington Bureau Chief for The Forward, Natan Gutman. He is former Washington correspondent for the Israeli paper Haaretz and the Jerusalem Post. Very good to have you on board this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So there's some serious parallels between these two leaders.
Oh, definitely.
Go down the list.
Well, both of them are in legal trouble. For Bibi Netanyahu, it's even worse. This morning, he's waking up at the Blair House only to hear news from Israel that his third top aide just signed a cooperation agreement with the police, meaning the police flipped his third aide already, and all these people will be testifying against him if it actually...
So you're saying basically the equivalent of a national security advisor flipping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's only one parallel, of course. And of course, there's this whole bashing of the legal system and of the press that are reporting about it. And we see these parallels are striking. Netanyahu has basically attacked the Israeli media for digging into reports about these bribery cases. He accused the police, which is investigating them, of being biased against him. And he's already laying the ground for questioning the Attorney General and the legal system if and when they decide to charge him.
He also has...
It's a playbook.
He also, though, like Donald Trump, he has his core of supporters, but it's relatively small, isn't it? We had a poll last week that only 16% of Americans strongly support Donald Trump.
No, it's Bibi Netanyahu's situation is better, but still more than 50% of Israelis say that they think he should resign because of these legal cases he's involved in.
Now, how serious is this for him?
Well, it's more of a political than a legal issue because it's a coalition government in Israel, and basically you have two clocks ticking. One of them is a legal clock until he gets indicted and what happens after that. But the other one is the political one. Will his party overthrow him? Will his coalition overthrow him if they sense that he's weak?
Now, is he going to be indicted? Because I've read some stories suggesting that the police often recommend charges, and the justice the Attorney General doesn't move forward with them.
It happens sometimes. The cases seem strong. Meanwhile, there are recommendations to charge him on 2 out of 4 cases. 2 of them are still under investigation. I think most people think that he will get indicted. The question is, how severe will the charges be, and can he survive them politically? If they're really strong bribery cases, it will be difficult to maintain his coalition because his coalition partners will have to justify later on, how did you sit in a government with this guy? So far, he's running pretty strong. The
President, Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haas, is with us, and he's got a question for you now. Richard.
How will this, you think, affect the challenge Israel faces, above all, what to do about Iran and his in Syria? Do you think this makes it more or less likely that Prime Minister Netanyahu assumes an assertive policy?
I think it could go either way. On the one hand, it could mean that Netanyahu will embark on a bold move just to remind people that he still is in power and enjoy what he still has, which is political capital as a statesman, as a leader, a strong leader of Israel. That could go that way. On the other hand, it also means that he does need a strong political base, and he needs strong support from the President of the United States to do that. And in order to have the strong support, he needs a strong ally in the White House. Not sure he has that right now. Trump is very supportive of Netanyahu on issues of Jerusalem and stuff like that. But will he be willing to back Israeli military or other action in Syria? We'll have to wait and see.
You mentioned the issue of Jerusalem. Let's talk about the Israeli-Palestinian quote-unquote peace process for a second. Is there any signs that this Israeli coalition government is in a position to endorse an offer that there would be any chance this Palestinian leadership would accept?
Not at all. It doesn't seem on the table at all. I don't think we're talking about any kind of peace process at this point of time. If anything, Netanyahu may be willing to go for some kind of a very mild curb on settlement building if he comes under pressure from the Americans. But again, that circles back to the White House. Is Jared Kushner, the person who is entrusted with coming up with a new peace plan, is he in a position now politically to actually go ahead with that? It doesn't seem possible. Netanyahu's current coalition won't leave him much room to maneuver on these issues at all.
Heidi.
And that's my question. How much do we know about what Jared has actually done behind the scenes to bring peace to the Middle East? All we can see outwardly are some decisions, frankly, that have really roiled the progress, including moving that embassy to Jerusalem.
Right, exactly.
So what do we know about what he's actually done before we say, oh, this is really terrible that going forward he's not going to be at the center of this?
Well, we don't know much because everything is done in secret. The only thing we know is that there is this promise that Jared Kushner will come up with a plan like we've never seen before, that will be different than any other peace plan that we've seen for the past 3 decades. What are the details? We don't know. We know that meanwhile, at least, the Trump administration is leaning heavily towards the Israeli side and making a lot of gestures to the Israelis, not to the Palestinians.
What's the impact of making Jerusalem the home for the U.S. embassy? Because obviously Israeli officials say it's a wonderful thing. The Trump administration says it's a wonderful thing. But we read that this blows apart the peace process and makes it more likely that there is only a one-state solution, and that one state is a state that Palestinians are going to gain more and more power with through the years.
Well, the fact is that there is no real peace process going on right now. The Jerusalem issue could be leveraged by the Trump administration to actually advance the peace process if they would go about it strategically. They could say, listen, this is a huge thing for Israel. This plays out really well with Bibi Netanyahu's constituency. Let's give him this gift of moving the embassy to Jerusalem and get something in return. So far, it doesn't seem that they're trying to leverage it at all, and therefore it's only another obstacle on the peace process that was already in shambles even before.
I want to get to a little bit of the politics behind the coalition government here. You talked about the parallels between the Trump and Netanyahu's. What about the coalition government behind the Prime Minister? Will they actually move to do something if it becomes an inflection point for the Netanyahu administration? Or will it be what we see here in the U.S., where you have a Republican leadership that is virtually feckless when it comes to actually standing against what the president's policies or actions may be speaking to?
I think that's what we'll see playing out in the next weeks and months if these cases keep on developing. And the news in Israel basically is full of stories about Netanyahu. Every day something new comes out. It will reach a point in which his partners, both within his Likud party and within his coalition, might question the political wisdom of staying with Netanyahu on board. But we're not at that point right now. And to some extent also the fact that he is stressing his qualities as an international statesman. He's here in Washington now. He was in Russia before. He's traveling in Asia. He's basically telling the public, look, I'm the only leader who can actually lead Israel. And yeah, you want to think twice before you choose someone else.
Natan Gutman, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Richard Haas, thank you as well. Still ahead, new comments from the president this morning on those proposed tariffs, now linking them to the renegotiation of NAFTA. Plus, President Trump praises China's president for ending presidential term limits, and then jokes that maybe the U.S. should do the same. Not everyone is laughing. We have a packed 8 a.m. hour ahead, live from Washington.